Hey there, we are Magic Man and we're hanging out with Rob. Front row live. Live.
You guys started with DIY shows, and now obviously you're doing full venues, even arenas, if I'm correct. But what is that like now that you're doing these venue shows? And is there any one element that you guys received, whether it was from the attention of the crowd or just the performance from doing DIY shows, that you haven't yet felt on these kind of shows yet?
I wasn't there for the DIY shows.
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's I guess we do try to bring kind of that energy from the basement shows to bigger shows, even if it's a big arena or a festival stage. One thing that's kind of like a pro and a con about a DIY show is that there's usually no production. There's probably no stage. Like the PA probably kind of stinks. So you really need to make the show exciting on your own as a band with your performance and your energy. And I feel like that definitely helped us kind of transition to bigger stages and still managing to bring the energy, even though sometimes they can feel a little like impersonal or the crowd seems like really far away when you're used to people like literally being right in front of you. But it's been fun. I mean, I like both kinds of venues. It's obviously really nice to play a huge venue with great sound and a really beautiful room, but then also it's still fun to go back to the small clubs and basements and stuff like that.
Do you think if those DIY shows weren't there before, do you think that performance would maybe lack a little bit of that energy, or is it just something that happens natural with you guys as soon as you guys start playing your music?
I like that I get the mic first. Yeah, it definitely helps. Like if we were just put on the big stages, we may lose, that sweaty, super energetic vibe. Yeah, I don't know. Anyone have anything on that?
Sam back here again in the studio. No, yeah, I think it's hard to say. I mean, that was kind of how at least I learned how to play shows, was playing more like DIY venues. But I feel like our music is pretty upbeat and energetic, and especially when you have such great fans that really come to the shows dancing and singing along, it's hard not to feel like sort of that infectious energy.
He said with the music is energetic. It'd be weird if we were up there like Kraftwerk, just like kind of like playing this type of music very still. So it comes with the music, I guess.
Yeah. Now you guys have been touring a lot lately. What have you guys learned from each tour that not to do on the next tour, or that you need to do on the next tour?
Change it up. Change it up.
I think the biggest part of each tour is learning from the other bands, and all positive things. Like especially like the summer we were touring with Panic at the Disco, and we've toured with Walk the Moon a couple times. Just like taking as many moves as we can, both literally and figuratively, from bands that are doing it to an even higher level on bigger stages, have been doing it for longer. I think that's the biggest thing that I've taken away from touring, is just even little things like how to warm up or what types of guitar kicks look good on stage. But yeah, the answer is every single one. Yeah, I feel like those have been the biggest takeaways for me, at least.
So when working on the debut album with a major label, what was that experience like? And what was it like working with a producer that's had a lot of big names under his belt?
Yeah, I mean, it was a really long process, just because I think it's probably the hardest I've ever worked on something is working on our record. We spent a long time writing the songs, then a lot of time in the studio kind of refining them and working on the mix and just the general production. Working with Alex Aldi was great. Like you said, he's got a lot of good experience, and it was sort of the first time we actually kind of set out to make a record. Our first album, Real Life Color, was something that Alex and I kind of just put together sort of unexpectedly, so actually kind of setting out and planning to create an album and coming up with sort of an agenda and a schedule was something new. Then definitely helped having the label, our A&R, and Alex producing and kind of like, or co-producing it with us. That definitely helped a lot. It was a lot of fun. It was definitely grueling at times, but I think rewarding ultimately.
Yeah. Now with the songs, I know there's a couple tracks on there. There's 3, in fact, that are locations. So it's Texas, Paris, and Chicagoland, I want to say. What is the significance with those 3 songs? Is there anything in specific?
the location-based titles is kind of like a thing that started with the first Magic Man songs we were writing. One of the first songs we wrote was called South Dakota. It's actually a bonus track on the CD version of the record. And we were writing these songs, Alex and I, when we were traveling. So I feel like there's a little bit of that like wanderlust that kind of inserted itself into the music. I guess we kind of like the idea of trying to encapsulate a little bit of what a place means to us, or what an experience in a certain place means to us, and then trying to kind of like take that, vibe or energy and kind of distill it into a song. It's kind of like, the same way writing about a person can often like yield really positive results. It's kind of similar to that for us. We love to travel. I mean, that's like another thing. We do it a lot as part of our jobs, but we kind of love experiencing new places and seeing kind of what they're like and what the energy is like in those places. So yeah.
And as you mentioned earlier, when working on the record, some of the songs took a while to work out. Is there one song in specific that took the longest, that you guys had to you guys trashed it for a bit, or you guys had to redo it? And what's the reason for doing so? Why did you feel that song needed to be on the record?
Let me see. It's hard. Yeah, Waves was one that took a while. It was one of the first songs we wrote when we started kind of writing new songs for the record. We're really excited about it at first, and then kind of felt like it wasn't really doing exactly what we wanted to. And one thing that really helped was changing the key. I think it was Bob Dylan. Bob Dylan has some quote about like, if you don't like the song, change the key, and maybe you'll like it more. And it actually really helped in this case. It kind of pushed the vocal part into like a different part of Alex's range, and kind of just, even though a lot of the arrangement and the writing was the same, just in a different key, it really helped kind of revitalize the song for us. And that was a big one that our label was kind of pushing for at the beginning, that we were sort of like, I'm not sure, it's ready yet. But then when we finally finished it, we were all really happy with it, and glad we kind of put in the extra time, because there was definitely a moment where we thought it wouldn't even be on the record or the EP.
Do you guys feel like what a single is now, or is it still a process for you guys to figure it out when you guys have a list of songs?
I feel like it's always like a question. Like, I don't know, you kind of have a feeling about a song, because we hear singles every day on the radio and things like that. I don't know. I feel like you can kind of you'll question it, but like, I don't know. You get the idea that something is a single, you're like, yeah, that's the one, but you never really know, I guess. Is that accurate?
I know every single right from the first chord. I'm just kidding. Yeah, some songs you really have a great feeling about. Paris was one song that came together really quickly, and from the start, we were like, this one's definitely going to be a special song. I think even if you just listen to top 40 radio these days, it's some songs are like obvious huge hits, but then there's plenty of other songs that don't necessarily jump out as like, that's going to be a smash sensation. Take Me to Church, probably a good example of that. So I think it really depends, and some songs right away, and some songs you kind of have to be reminded of. Yeah, it depends, I guess.
And as you guys have been on tour, I'm sure for you guys get tired maybe of performing your music, or the latest music. Have you guys been doing any new music, like testing out the waters with them, or have you guys even been working on new music maybe?
Yeah, we play a new song live, and play some old songs live, kind of switch it up. I don't know. I guess, yeah, they've been writing, but we can't talk about that yet.
What are the plans after this tour? Do you guys have another tour lined up? Are you guys going to take a little break to work on anything else?
Chipotle Music Festival.
Well, we are playing one of the Cultivate Festival shows with Chipotle, which we're very excited about. I'm very hungry right now, so I'm just thinking about it now in my mind, thinking about Chipotle. Anyways, no, I think
there might be one down the street.
We've already found it. Yeah, I mean, we've got a bunch more shows booked, and but I think a big thing is going to be kind of starting to work on some of these new songs that we started working on, and kind of trying to finish them, get them to a place where we can hopefully get them out into the world as soon as possible.